Sifu Nik from Ballistic Fighting Methods and StreetSafe101.com, and in this video we're going to be discussing a term called entries that we use in JKD along with other martial arts. Now before we begin, I'd like to just say that this video is going to be a little bit in detail, a little bit lengthy, and I do that for a few different reasons. Number one, I want to make sure that you really comprehend and retain the information. Number two is that if you already know what an entry is, but you learned it from a sub-source, such as a DVD, a magazine article, or a book, it gets a little bit difficult to see the finer details of the technique. So I want to make sure that I'm able to point those out to you in this video. And number three, there's just a whole lot of low-level information floating around out there that I feel doesn't represent JKD properly. So as a JKD student, as a JKD practitioner, and as a JKD instructor, I feel like I need to give you guys the best quality information available. That being said, let's get started. The first thing that we need to do is define what an entry is. I consider an entry to be a bridge or a segue. It's going to take you from non or semi-engagement range to full engagement range. Now you notice I use the term range and not it's taking you to close quarter or it's taking you to boxing or ground fighting. It can do all of those or none of them. The point of an entry is that it gives you an opportunity to employ whatever tactics and techniques you know. Now I break entries down into two fundamental types, direct and then indirect. A direct entry is very proactive. You're going to initiate the attack. It's done very explosively. An indirect is just the opposite. It's very reactive. We're waiting for somebody to feed us. They're going to give us a punch, a push, a kick, pull, something, but we're going to respond to that feed. The goal of any indirect entry is broken down into three subcomponents. 1, evade the line of attack. 2, move to a desired range or distance. 3, have a strategic advantage for counter offense. Okay? So evade the line of attack, move to a desired range or distance, and then finally have a strategic advantage in counter offending. And that's going to be done with 4 separate parts: footwork, head movement, supporting hand, and then offending hand. Okay, so footwork, head movement, supporting hand, and then offending hand. And all of those are going to be done on one beat. It's not 4 pieces, it is one beat. So now that we understand how to break down what an entry is, let's see what it looks like in action. So the first entry that I'll show you is going to be called an outside entry. Okay? Now we talk about outside, inside, split. It's not because of the way that our hands or arms end up. It is a reference to the configuration of our framework, okay? So where our bodies are aligned, and you'll see that in just a minute. Okay, first entry is an outside entry, okay? So Jeff is coming down the pipeline. He's throwing this jab and he's aiming right for the middle of my face. I need to be able to evade the line of attack, dictate desired range, and then have a strategic advantage in counter offense, okay? So the first thing that I do is have footwork. Okay, so I need to move, step on a female triangle or an open triangle, 45 degree to one side or the other. Okay, so he throws his punch, it's coming down the pipeline. I step 45 degrees out. I slip my head. I bring in my supporting hand as a parry. I bring my offending hand from underneath and back up. Okay, and I go for my buji, eye jab, punch, push, whatever you have on your arsenal, okay? So let's put that in a regular play. He throws the punch, I step out, I move my head, I use my supporting hand to parry off, and I use my offending hand to wedge through. That in JKD is called a wampak buji, okay? Or wedge and eye jab. All right, so he throws this again. One more time. Okay, so let me flip around so you guys can see it from this angle as well. Okay, he's throwing that jab right down the pipeline. Okay, my job is to evade the line of attack, move to a desired range or distance, and then have an advantage in counter firing, right? Those are my three main goals. So again, he fires this, footwork, head movement, supporting hand, offending hand. Okay? So let's do it a little bit live. And you see I'm on the outside of his framework. Okay? One more time. Okay, do I meet my goals? Did I evade the line of attack? Yes, I'm not in the same place. Do I have have I made it to my desired range or distance? Yes. Okay? And do I have a strategic advantage in counter firing? Absolutely. He's faced that way, I'm faced towards him. I can start raining whatever techniques, tactics I know, and he has to be able to defend and then turn to me just to catch up. Okay, so there's my strategic advantage. So one more time from this side, Jeff. Okay, so there's our outside entry. All right, let's come on back to this side. Earlier in the video, I pointed out to you guys that entries don't have to take you to close quarter. They take you to whatever you know. Let me give you an example of that. Actually, Jeff, come on back on this side for me one more time. Sorry about that. Okay, let me give you one more example of that, okay? Let's say, well, let's just go through a few different scenarios. He throws the punch, I get this outside entry. I'm a law enforcement officer, and I see Jeff's buddies coming after me from the backside. I need to be able to step back and draw my pistol, okay? He throws me that same jab, make an outside entry. I'm a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy. I might want to step down and shoot for a single leg takedown, okay? He throws me that same, okay? I'm a Muay Thai guy. I know how to work my clinch. Maybe I want to work my clinch and get my knees and elbows involved, okay? So it doesn't matter what you know and what you think is the appropriate response. The entry is a bridge to help you get to that, okay? All right. Our second entry is going to be called the split entry, all right? And what you're going to see is our framework is going to be split, all right? Now, it's not about the hands or the arms. It's about my whole body aligned to him and his body aligned to me, all right? Okay. So same thing, he's throwing that jab, it comes right down the pipeline. The split entry has to have the same things like the outside does. Footwork, head movement, supporting hand, offending hand, okay? And what you're seeing is, now, instead of being on the outside of his framework, our framework is split, okay? He is one in, one out. I am one in, one out, meaning my right hand's in, his right hand's in. My left hand's out, his left hand's out. It's a 50-50 shot, okay? It's a split, all right? Okay, one more time. Right here. One more time. Right here. And one more time. Right here. Okay? So you have to have the footwork, the head movement, the supporting hand, and then the offending hand. And all that happens on one beat. It's not 4 beats. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all on one. Okay? I'll show you from the other side. So Jeff's throwing this jab. It's coming right down the pipeline over here. Okay? This is where he's aiming for. Okay? And as a feeder, as a mitt holder, it's important that he feeds well. If he put this jab down here or out there somewhere in space, it doesn't do me any good. He's not being a good feed, and I'm not going to be able to give him a good response. Okay? All right. So Jeff, go ahead and put that around the nose. Okay. Now what you're looking at is the inside structure right here. Right? We're split. We're split. One more time. And one more time. Okay? Now this could be a punch, a jab, it could be an eye jab, it could go to the throat. If you're into the Filipino martial arts, Panatukan Silat, they like to monitor the rear hand before they do anything else. So when Jeff throws the punch, they monitor the second hand before they come out and possibly do a nerve destruction, or maybe they step up for the eye, maybe they go in for the throat, okay, or maybe they're looking for some type of a takedown or manipulation, okay? So that's an option too, okay? Not even a bad option. It's actually really good to be able to monitor that rear hand, okay? Okay. Our third entry is an inside entry, and you're going to see how our framework lines up. Again, same thing. Jeff, hold your hand out for me, buddy. Okay? He's still firing down the pipeline. Okay? Everything's role reversed. Now, instead of making that female triangle footwork to the left, I'm going to make it to the right. Okay? Instead of slipping my head to my left, I'm going to slip my head to the right. Instead of using my rear hand as my supporting hand, I'm going to use my front hand as my supporting hand. And instead of using my front hand as an off-ending hand, I'm going to use my rear hand as an off-ending hand. Okay? So you're going to see how it's just like the outside entry, it's just role reverse. It's a mirror image of it, okay? The outside entry, the jab put me out here. The split put me right in here. The inside is going to put me right here. Okay? Maybe it just started off kind of strange. You guys were lined up a little bit awkward. This might be a good place to go. All right? One more time, Jeff. Again, this could be a punch, could be an eye jab, could be something to the throat, could just be a push. I'm cool with that too. You could be checking the rear hand. That's up to you. All right? That's the beauty of an entry. You use the entry to apply whatever tactics you are comfortable with. Okay? So, at speed. At speed. Okay, let me give you the other look. First, let's go slow. So Jeff, just kind of bring your hand out from here. He's punching on the pipeline. I use my front hand, and I end up right here. Okay? Now, it's very important that you don't just do this. Okay? You see a lot of guys do that. They just kind of bump this thing out of the way and come right here. You're in bad position. He's in bad position. It's not tight. It's not sloppy. So I want you to remember to swipe your front hand to your shoulder. Okay? That way, if he decides that off of that jab, he throws that lead hand hook, you have something to cover you. Okay? All right, so Jeff, right here. You can see where my hands are going for. I like going for the BUG or the eye jab. That's up to you. Okay? Okay? So let's give it a quick review. First we had the outside entry, then we had the split, and then we had the inside. Let me give you the other view. Outside, split, inside. Okay? Those are 3 different entries. Remember, take your time, wear some safety equipment, gloves, mouthpiece, just in case if you slip up. Remember the 3 goals of any indirect entry. Evade the line of attack, move to a desired range or distance, and have a strategic advantage in counter offense. And that's done in 4 parts: footwork, head movement, supporting hand, and then off-ending hand. And it's all done on 1 beat. If you like the video, check out part 2, which I'm going to be showing you guys follow-ups to the split entry. Until next time, I'm Sifu Nik from Ballistic Fighting. I'll see you in the next one.